Welcome back to our YouTube channel. In today's class, we will learn how to make these beautiful drapes that we have on this dress. Okay, so the drape is running from the shoulder area to the waistline, and then from the waistline to the side of the skirt. It's a very simple tutorial and it's beginner friendly. This is something you would like to learn. Kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to be draping on this beautiful corset top that we have here. In case you don't know how to make this and you want to learn the tutorial on how I was able to achieve this is already on the channel. So now the draping is going to run from this shoulder all the way to the hem of the sleeve of the blouse before we join the skirt to it. So as you can see now, I've ripped the seam on my shoulder because I want it to be inside. You don't want your draping to be showing, the rough edges of your draping to be showing. And also I'm here to fix this other sleeve to it. Okay, so now I'm going to start to drape it. To drape, I'm going to be using this fabric. This is a draw face fabric. You can use any fabric of your choice, but the fabric has to be lush and soft. It shouldn't be too strong. So now you can see that this is the fabric. This is how it works. This is the normal yard of the fabric. So if you want to drape, it's easier for you to drape in like a bias form, that holding it in a triangular form. You can see the fabric is normally supposed to be like this, so I'm going to hold it like this in a triangular form so that the drapes can see. Just holding it like this, you can see your drapes already forming. So now I'm going to be starting on this shoulder, and I'm going to be pleating or making small gather pleats here. So I'll just leave in. Remember, you know that we have like 4 inches on my shoulder, so you cannot start from here. It's not going to give you enough room to pleat on these 4 inches. So wherever you're starting from, you make sure that you're going to have at least double of what you have on your shoulder so that you can easily pleat on them. So now I'm going to be starting from around here, so you can see where I'm starting from. This is like 9 inches from the starting point. So to the first fold here, I'm going to fold the rough edges inwards like this before I start the pleat. So after folding it inwards, I'm going to remove the shoulder, the back shoulder, and then I'm going to be pleating on just the front. So I'm just placing it like this. I remove my pin and then I'm going to repin it down. So you can see what I have done. So the next thing now is to start pleating. So I'm going to pleat this now. You can pleat or gather. I'm pleating this, and then I'm going to hold it with my pen again. I'm pleating this again also. I'll hold it with my pin. I'm going to pleat all of this. You can see the excess that I have here, and then I'm going to pleat it and hold the last one with my pin as well. Okay, so here I'm leaving it like this because I'm still going to sew a sleeve to it. So this rough edge is going to be inserted in the sleeve, so you can just pin the last one, so whatever it is that you have left, it'll be easier for you to pleat or gather them. So I think I'm going with gathering. So I've gathered like this, and then I'm going to hold all of them with my pin. So the ones that I have pleated now, I'm also going to gather all of them. Okay, so that is the first thing we are going to do. We're going to gather our fabric on the shoulder area. Okay, so now that we have this, the next thing now is to bring this to my center front. So just the way I have folded this rough edges inwards, I'm folding this inwards also. And you can just anyhow, if you want it to go like this, if I just want it to go like under my bust. So now I've held this up to here, and then I'm going to use this to hold it down. So after holding it down, I'm just going to follow the drapes that I have there. So you can see I'm just draping it and then holding with my hand. So I'm just going to drape it and make sure that they really flow well. So here, remember, we are still going to add the sleeve, so I'm just going to pin my armhole area part like this. Then from here, I'm going to fold in this rough edges again, so you can see, because we don't want all these rough parts to be showing. So here I'll fold these rough edges, and I want the drapes to cover the bust area, so you can see that the bust is completely covered. You can also hold that part down before you now decide to bring in the excess that you have. Okay, so now that I have it like this, I'm going to make it as small as possible. I don't want it too wide, so you can see what I have here. So now what I have here, I'm going to take it to the hem, to this side, like the dart line area of my hem, as you can see. So now I'm bringing it to the dart side area of my hem, and then I'm going to pin it down. So draping is fun actually. You can decide to manipulate it anyhow you want, and the beauty of it is that if you are not okay with it immediately, you will see it and you'll be able to remove it and then reshape it to whatever it is that you want. So I'm draping this down now, and then I'm going to check what I have so far. So anywhere that I'm not okay with, I'm going to change it. So here I want it a bit narrow on this part. As you can see, it's peeling to this side, so I'm just going to hold this part also with a pin, and then I'm going to redrape it on the hem. So you just adjust it anyhow you want it to be. Okay, so now I've pinned it to the hem. The next thing is for me to cut off the excess that I have there. So I'm going to cut it off and then bring in my skirt so that I can continue the drape. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and like I said, you can adjust it anyhow you want. So now I'm going to Okay, so I just quickly drafted this skirt so that I can complete this tutorial. So I have this skirt like this. The other drape comes from where this stops all the way to the side of the skirt. So again, just like I did for this one, you can see this is the normal green that I have. So I'm going to take it like this, just like I did, and then I'm going to pleat the first part, okay, or gather it just like we did for the first one, and then I'm going to place it exactly where this stops. So again, I'm going to fold the first part like this, or you can just leave it because we are still going to sew this inside. We are still going to sew the front and the skirts together. That's the skirt and the blouse, so it's going to be inside. So now I'm going to place the first one just like I have pleated this, and then I'm going to pin it here. Okay, so now I've pinned it, as you can see. So now you can see the line, this basque line that we have on the skirt. I'm going to pin this along that line up to the center part. You can see the center part marked with this red dripping tape. So I'm going to hold it like this. You can leave it to wherever it is that you want, and then this other end here, I'm going to fold it inwards because it's going to show, and then I'm going to take it to the side. So you can measure like 5 inches downwards on the side like this, and then I'm going to pin it down. Okay, so after pinning it down, this is what it looks like. So now I'm going to decide how long I want the drape to be on the side. So you can measure from here to wherever it is that you want it to stop. So you can measure like 6 or 7 inches. So once you have that, I'm going to take the other end of this fabric, and then I'm going to take it to that part. So you just carry everything together, gather everything together to see where it's going to fit like this, and then I'm going to hold that part with a pin. Okay, so this I've removed, so I'm going to repin this now and do that. So now I'm folding it this rough edges now, and then I'm going to pin it to that part where it's going to stop, so you can see it. So now the next thing is for me to start draping everything to fit into this space that's between here and here. So now I'm going to start to drape this just like we did for the upper part. You form your drapes and you make sure that they are well arranged. Okay, so you can use your hand to arrange it well, and then you start pinning it to the sides. So it is as simple as that. So once you form a drape and you're okay with what you have, you take your pin and then you pin it down. So you do the same thing for the rest of it. You pin them all down. Okay, so now As you can see that I've pinned everything to fit into this space that I have from here to here. So once you're satisfied with what you have there, the next thing is to cut this hole. So when you're cutting this, remember there's a seam allowance inward. So you're not going to be cutting exactly on this point. You leave a little bit of space. So I have pinned this down now, as you can see, and then I've cut off the excess. So the next thing now is to carefully remove this. So this part that we have here also, I'm going to cut it off. So now we are done draping this. The next thing I'm going to do now is to carefully remove this so that I can go and sew it. So there are several ways you can remove. Actually, you can, your needle and thread, you can just use it to tack it before you remove it, but I'm just going to use my pin to hold this down as I'm removing it. So you can see me removing this pin now, and then I'm going to take it together with the shoulder that I'm sewing it to, and then I'm going to hold it with my pin. So I remove the next one, and then I'm going to do the same thing. So you can see what I'm doing. Then the next one, I'll remove it again, and then I'll hold that part also with my pin so that I can transfer to the machine. I'm removing this also. So before you even remove, you can use your iron to just iron this down if you want it flat, but I don't want it to be flat. I just want to have this a little puffiness that I have there. So that's why I'm not ironing it. So I'm removing this and holding with my pin, and this is the last one. So you can see that I can completely detach the shoulder part now. Okay, so after removing the shoulder, I'm going to come here to the armhole area, and then I'm going to pin that to my fabric also. So here on the hem area, I'll do exactly the same thing. I'll remove this now and pin. So you should work with enough pins, because I don't have a lot of pin right now, but this middle part also, it is advisable for you to just pin all of them in place before you completely remove it from your fabric, so that by the time you get to the sewing machine, you don't get confused. That I've pinned it, so the excess that I have on the shoulder area, you just follow what you have on your shoulder seam, so shoulder line, and then you cut it off also. So now I'm going to remove this from the mannequin. So if you are in doubt, once you hold this together the way you're supposed to hold it, everything is going to form. You can see our drapes are back. So now I'm going to take this to the sewing machine now, and then I will sew it. So the same way is how I'm going to remove the skirt part. So you just remove your pin, then you repin it back like this. Remove the pin also, you pin it back, remove and repin. Then I'll do the same thing for this side. So I'll go and sew it, and then I'll bring it back to show us. Okay, so I've gone ahead to sew it together on the shoulder, as you can see. I can see that my drape is formed. I've also sewn it on this, the hem of the blouse. I did the same thing on the upper part for the skirt, and also for the side. Just like I said, remember I left some allowances, so I just loosened it a bit, and then I tucked in the allowances, and then I sew it together. So if you want to make it easier for you, you can do your draping before joining the back part of the skirt, so that you can easily pin them together. So these are the drapes that I have so far. So if you want your drape to stay in place, what you just need to do is to start tacking them one after the other. So you tack it neatly so that it doesn't show. You can see that this is going to fall on this, so you place your tacking around here so that this can cover it. You open this up also, you tack it. So you just tack it just to hold everything in place for you. The same thing is what you're going to do to the upper part. And also on the armhole, you can see that I have sewn the armhole area together like this, so that I can fix my sleeve easily. And then I started folding it in, so that I'm not going to be seeing any rough edges on this side. So for your folds, you just make your ruffles as much as you want, and then you tack it down. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to sew the shoulder together. So I'll remove this again, and then join my back to my front shoulder, and then also I'm going to join the waistline together. That's the skirt to the top. Then I'm going to fix my sleeve. So I'll do all of this now and bring it back to show us what we have. So the shoulder is joined together now. I've joined the front and back together, and the sleeve is also fixed. So you can see the drapes that will be formed. So draping requires a lot of pinning so that your work will be easier for you. So you need to pin as much as possible wherever it is needed. And then I've joined the waistline also to the lower body. So that's the draping, and then I just added this beautiful trimming to that place where they joined together. So this is what the full dress looks like, and you can see that it's really beautiful and it's simple to make. I hope you enjoyed making this tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.